Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you're having an amazing day so far, and I hope you had an awesome weekend. My weekend was so boring. There is absolutely nothing to report on. I was on the sofa all weekend because my back is completely and truly fudged. You thought I was going to swear. I'm not going to swear. Anyway, I'm not going to moan about it. I'm just going to say I'm happy I'm back. I've got chiropractor again this afternoon, so hopefully he can do some of his magic and crack me around a bit and hopefully fix something, because it's really actually annoying me. It's so sore today. Please, I do apologize if I make any mistakes. I am on some pretty strong painkillers. I'm not even allowed to drive, so my missus is going to have to take me. So yeah, I do apologize. Anyway, today we are reacting to 10 deadliest national parks, and that is because I love nature. I absolutely love nature, and I love being outside, and I'm usually always outside, apart from this weekend when I was stuck indoors. But yeah, I love going mushroom picking. I love going to the forest and that, yeah, but there are precautions you have to take. There's bears here local to us. There's steep cliffs. Sometimes you don't even see them, especially if it's snow, and if there's a lot of snow on the ground, you can just walk off one of them sometimes. So you got to be careful. So I'm assuming when they say 10 deadliest national parks, a lot of it comes down to human error, doesn't it? I think. Anyway, I haven't seen it, but we're going to be checking it out. Before we check out today's video, if you wouldn't mind smashing that subscribe button, that would be freaking awesome. Thank you. And without further ado, let's check out the 10 deadliest national parks.
Have you ever thought you might not make it home from a trip to a national park? Nobody does. I mean, unless it's the 1980s, you listen to The Cure too much, you wear only black, and your parents forced you to go. But most people don't think they're gonna die on a trip to a national park, but it does happen. The United States is home to some of the most beautiful national parks in the world. These parks can be fun, but they can also be dangerous. Every year, people get croaked at these parks from various causes: drowning, falls, medical emergencies, auto accidents. America's national parks welcomes millions of visitors every single year, but some of them don't make it home.
Causes of death in U.S. national parks: medical 18, drowning 22, falls or slips 22, vehicle crashes 30, not reported 76.
Alive.
Jeez.
The national park system isn't just the big national parks like Arches, Yosemite, Big Bend, the Great Smoky Mountains. They have historic sites, recreation areas, national forests, and national seashores. Newly released data collected by the Public Risk Management Program from the National Park Service shows that between 2014 and early April 2023, over 2,600 visitors have died in the national parks. Of those, 204 died in 2022 alone. The deadliest year was 2019. Actually, it's tied with 2017, but the record is 320 dead in 1 year. Today we're looking at which 10 of these places are you statistically most likely to catch an early dirt nap. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Zion National Park, Utah. Zion National Park is in southern Utah, not too far from St. George. If you're ever going to go see national parks and you want to,
look at that road. I would love to drive on a road like that. Look, no traffic, nice bendy road, beautiful scenery.
Knock out a bunch in a week. I would go here. You got Zion right there, not too far away. You got Bryce Canyon, and then you have Canyonlands National Park. You got Capitol Reef National Park. Those are all in southern Utah. If you want to cross over the border into Arizona, northern Arizona, you have the Grand Canyon. So, yeah, that's a great trip. Zion National Park averages about 4.5 million visitors a year. This is a great place to hike. If you want to up your Instagram game, this is one of the best spots to go to. From 2014 to 2023, Zion National Park saw 43 deaths. 22 of them were from falls, and 8 were from environmental.
I was just going to say, I mean, you got to be so careful somewhere like that as well. Just one slip or something. When I go hiking and the kids are with me, I'm like a hawk. I've got to constantly check what they're doing, because I know how easy it can happen. Like one tiny slip and you go over the edge and that's it. Game over. There's no coming back.
Problems. They say environmental issues, which would be hypothermia, heat stroke, things like that. Number 9, Grand Teton National Park, Wyoming. Grand Teton is another place that's just beautiful. If you go there in the winter, I think it's a little bit better. I've been through there twice in the summer and about 3 times during the winter. And yeah, the winter, it's a beautiful place. I mean, it's not like the summer sucks or anything like that. I just prefer the winter there a little bit better. The good news is they don't have bear attacks every summer, so that's always good. That actually is very, very rare in national parks or even in the United States. Bear attacks are extremely rare, but for some reason everyone seems to think that they're going to go out in the woods and a grizzly's going to pull them away. Up there near the Canadian border, you have Glacier National Park, which isn't on this list. They had a weird story going back some years. I think it was 1966. They had 2 bear attacks in one night, fatal bear attacks in one night, different parts of the park. So it wasn't the same bear had just, freaked out and started killing people. 2 separate people were killed by bears, and they hadn't had one in like the 30 years prior, and I don't think they've had one since. Anyway, Grand Teton sees about 4 million visitors a year. From 2014 to 2023, they had 48 deaths. 21 of those were from falls.
There's a pattern emerging, isn't there?
Number 8, Rocky Mountain National Park, Colorado. The Rocky Mountain National Park is different from the Rocky Mountains. The Rocky Mountains are huge. The Rocky Mountain National Park is a section of it. Rocky Mountain National Park is in between Fort Collins and Boulder, Colorado, to the west of both of them. This is another one that if you've got a good
Boulder,
camera...
Colorado, the reason I know that name is Joey Diaz. I don't know if you've ever heard of Joey Diaz. He's freaking hilarious. He's always talking about Boulder, Colorado.
You could up your Instagram game quite a bit here. Every time I've gone there, I've been amazed at the scenery, but I just look at some of the equipment some of these photographers have in different areas, and they're just trying to get that perfect shot. It's like I want to do that, but I know there's not a whole bunch of money in it. I don't know. Some do make some good money. The ones that do go to places like this, just they wait all day to get the perfect shots. I'm more of a camera tech nerd than a photographer. Rocky Mountain National Park sees about 4.2 million visitors a year. They've got some great hiking trails too. If you like to hike, you already know about it. But if you're just getting into hiking, this has got a lot of different trails for you. Some of them might be a little too hard for a beginning hiker, but it's well worth it.
It's a house. Or a cabin.
Some of them might be a little too hard for a beginning.
Can you see it there? That looks like a cabin or a house. Imagine living, how nice it must be to live there. No freaking neighbors. I had a run-in with my neighbors on Friday. And all I can say is lucky my back is sore.
Hiker, but it's well worth doing a couple miles here. Rocky Mountain National Park sees about 4.2 million visitors every year. And from 2014 to 2023, surely. They saw 49 deaths. 18 of them were from falls. Number 7. Number 7 is a twofer. You got Mount Rainier and Denali in Alaska. Let's start with Mount Rainier National Park in Washington State. If you don't know where Mount Rainier is, it is south of Seattle, a little closer to Tacoma. If you look to the south and see a mountain peak, that's it. If you do ever go visit here and you go by State Route 706, between Ashford and Longmire, there's a little restaurant inn place called the Copper Creek Inn. Stop in there. Great.
You got to be careful with some of these like clips and videos and that, because like, have you ever seen that Instagram versus reality photos and videos and stuff? It just, sometimes they make it look so awesome, and then you turn up there and you're like, but I bet, I'm not saying that these places are like that, but
there's a little restaurant inn place called the Copper Creek Inn. Stop in there. Great food. It's a nice little, it's pretty cool. It's almost like one of those country stores and restaurants, like tucked in off the road in the woods. It's really nice. Anyway, Mount Rainier between 2014 and 2023 saw 51 deaths. 19 of them were from falls, and 12 were from environmental issues, like I said earlier, hypothermia, things like that. Froze to death. Part 2 of number 7, Denali, Alaska. Denali National Park is one of the best national parks we have, and it's really not visited that much. They see less than 300,000 visitors every single year.
Flipping
it's
heck.
Huge. It's
everywhere
beautiful.
else is like 4 million, 4.2 million. This is 300,000.
And hardly anyone goes there. They'd probably have a lot more deaths if they had more people visiting, but they don't. They had a total, again, just like Mount Rainier, 51 deaths. 18 of them were from environmental issues. Number 6, Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. It touches all of them. This one is huge. Yellowstone is known for its geysers, its bison, and of course the most famous geyser of all, Old Faithful. It is also home to Yogi Bear. Isn't that amazing? Yogi Bear used to live in Yellowstone, the cartoon. Remember that? Just kidding. He was actually from Jellystone National Park. Oh, yeah. The fictional Jellystone National Park.
You got me, man. You got me. I thought it was Yellowstone, but I did used to watch Yogi Bear.
In case any of you were trying to look it up on the list of national parks. every year you hear about someone dying doing something they weren't supposed to in Yellowstone National Park. A couple years ago, a guy decided he wanted to get closer to one of the geysers, and he fell in. Besides being very hot, it's very acidic. He dissolved. And I don't know when we're going to see someone killed by one of the bison, but every single year someone gets off the little trail and decides to take a selfie with one, and then they like get launched in the air or they get run over, something like that. Follow the rules, people.
It happened in South Africa a few times. It tells you when you go to a game reserve, like a safari, whatever you want to call it, you can drive around in your own car, but there's signs everywhere. Stay in your vehicle, stay in your vehicle. And some people are still clever enough to get out and try to take a close-up photo of a lion or something. And it's happened a few times where they've actually been killed by the lions. And then there's outrage, oh, shoot the lions. The lions are home. They tell you don't get out the car. They're just doing what lions do.
Well, oddly enough, Yellowstone is not the most visited national park. It's one of the most famous ones, but it's actually 7th when you list all the big ones, like the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, all those places. It's number 7 on that list. Yellowstone only gets about 4 million visitors every single year.
So many
Between
people.
2014 and 2023, they had 52 deaths. 12 of those were from motor vehicle crashes, and 12 were from medical and natural causes.
Crap.
Like someone had a heart attack, they got run over by a buffalo, something like that.
Vehicle, I wasn't expecting that.
Number 5, Sequoia in Kings Canyon, California. Sequoia in Kings Canyon National Park is like the often overlooked middle child to Yosemite and Death Valley National Park. They don't really see a lot of people, but it's a pretty cool place. I've been to this one. I was younger, but it was still pretty cool.
Such a cool name,
like I said, this
Sequoia.
one's often
Sequoia.
overlooked because you got Yosemite right up the road, and that's going to get all the attention. Sequoia only sees 1.3 million visitors
Those
every
trees
single
are
year,
so beautiful.
but they got a good amount of deaths. Between 2014 and 2023, they saw 75 deaths. 25 of those were from falls, and 13 were from drownings. They got some fast-moving rivers up there.
Water, man.
Number 4, the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, North Carolina and Tennessee. The Great Smoky Mountains are amazing. Whenever someone's talking about mountains, they always want to talk about the Rocky Mountains or something like that. But the Appalachian Mountains, in my opinion, are just as impressive. The Great Smoky Mountain National Park normally sees about 11 million visitors, but in 2021, they saw 14.1 million visitors. It is the most visited national park we have. 2022, they dropped down to 13.5 million visitors. But the Great Smoky...
That is insane. Oh man, that's double the population of Slovakia. Population here is only 6 million. I think 6 million.
Mountain National Park from 2014 to 2023 saw 80 deaths. 29 of those were motor vehicle crashes.
Sorry for the door slamming.
Number 3, Yosemite National Park. In my opinion, this is the one that everyone should have on their bucket list. Absolutely. Now, I said Zion's pretty cool, and there's a lot of really cool national parks.
Nice,
Yosemite is just, it's otherworldly.
See that little field down there by the river? Yes, there's a risk of flooding, but I'd have a cabin right there if I could. Catch me some fish, hunt some stuff. Oh, that's life. That's what life should be about, eh?
I think.
Living in the
Yosemite
bush.
National Park sees just a little under 4 million visitors a year. That's a lot lower than I thought it was going to be. It is kind of out in the middle of nowhere by itself. I mean, San Francisco's a good distance away, like 3.5 hours, then LA's like 8 hours away. I mean, the closest real city to Yosemite National Park is probably Modesto. And yeah, nobody goes to Modesto. If you ever do go, people will tell you this, but make sure if you're going to hike it, go to the John Muir Trail. Go up the back of Half Dome. You'll be able to see all these waterfalls. Oh, it's amazing. But yeah, Yosemite sees almost 4 million visitors a year. From 2014 to 2023, they had 126 deaths. 45 of those were from falls. A lot of people climbing up stuff they probably...
Make sure you got the right footwear.
They shouldn't in Yosemite.
At least.
Number 2, the Grand Canyon National Park, Arizona. Grand Canyon, this one surprises me at how few people go see it, because I really thought it would be the number 1.
That is somewhere my missus really, really wants to go one day. It is beautiful. I'll give it that. Holy smokes. Look at that.
National Park. I really did. I just thought so many people go there. I've been there 2 or 3 times. Once when I was younger. The thing about the Grand Canyon, it is very cool to see. You get there, but after about 20 minutes, you're done with the Grand Canyon. I was young and we took that mule train. I don't even know if they do it anymore. Ride the mules to the bottom of the canyon. I was about sick of that mule after about 10 minutes. I was hoping to get attacked by the local indigenous people. I actually said something. I forget what I said. Like, are we going to be attacked and killed by the locals? I forget what I said, but I said it out loud.
So
and the guide was right next to me.
It doesn't look real. Sorry, I know I'm interrupting there, but that is like, it's spectacular.
Locals,
looking.
I forget what I said, but I said it out loud. And the guide was right next to me. He goes, well, I haven't killed you yet, have I? I guess he was a local indigenous person. Only about 5 million people visit the Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona every year. From 2014 to 2023, 134 people died at the Grand Canyon.
Falls,
of that, 42 of them were from medical reasons, heart attacks, strokes, things like that. They have an overabundance of elderly people there, I've noticed, so maybe they just, their time was up when they were there. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget...
I thought it would be falls over there.
We have another channel called On This Day. There's a link for that down below. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Lake Mead National Recreation Area, Nevada. This one is right outside of Las Vegas. It's kind of part of the Colorado River.
Isn't the Lake Mead the one that is, obviously you can see there where the water level used to be, but it's like drying up really quick, isn't it? I think. Isn't that where they're finding all the bodies in the barrels and things, and they think it's old mob hits and stuff?
It's where Hoover Dam is, and you've probably seen it in recent news because the lake is going dry. Well, we just had a whole bunch of rain, so it might be filling up again, but it got to record low, and they started finding bodies there. Bodies that had been there for decades. Your first thought is this was mob related. The mafia has been dumping people there for years. No, of the people they found, only a couple of them they think had mob ties. The rest were just people that were drunk and boating and disappeared. I mean, one guy was found in a drum, like a big oil drum. They actually pulled him out, and his clothes didn't deteriorate over the decades. He was put in there like in the mid-70s, and they tracked his clothes back to a local Kmart. Lake Mead, because it's a big place for boating, fishing, and, people trying to get away from the desert heat. It sees a lot of people. 7 million people visit Lake Mead National Recreation Area every single year.
Beautiful,
From 2014 to 2023, 145 people died. 47 of them drowned.
See, like when you hear Lake Mead, you expect the most people, sounds horrible, but you expect the most of the deaths to come from drowning. That's why Grand Canyon, I thought most people who sadly died there would have fallen off or something.
All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Right, that's it for that video. Yeah, I'm gonna have to knock it on the head. I don't know whether you noticed, my speech is a bit slurred. I'm zonked out from these painkillers. I'm dizzy. I'm feeling a bit weird. I might need to lie down, to be honest with you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.